Hey everyone, Luke Dog here, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. Sten and Liliana have joined us. And now, we're gonna go out and finish a few more quests in Lothering. It's a nice windmill.
Mindless creatures.
Wolves! Let me turn the music down a little bit. See if that helps. I gotta move, no! Dang it. Ooh, Sten. Get dang it. Two lesser injuries. Do I really want to use them now, though? I am coughing blood. Penalty to fatigue. Sten, you are also coughing blood. And you got a broken bone. Penalty to dexterity. I'll hold off for now.
Let us dispatch them quickly.
It's a big bear. No beast is more beloved by Dirthamen than the bear. When the world was new, Dirthamen gave one secret to each creature to keep. The foxes traded their secrets to Andruil for wings. The hares shouted theirs to the treetops. The birds sold theirs for gold and silver. Only the bears kept Dirthamen's gift deep within their dens. They slept the months away in the company of their secrets and nothing else. When Dirthamen discovered what had been done with his gifts, he snatched the wings from the foxes, silenced the voices of the hares, and turned the birds into paupers. But the bears he honored for their steadfastness. Transcribed from a Dalish tale, 9-8 Dragon. Normally, it is almost unheard of for bears to attack travelers. They are, in fact, so shy and so inactive during the day that most people never encounter a bear at all. However, should a bear be provoked, they are remarkably dangerous. The normally placid-seeming creatures become enraged and can strike massive blows with their paws, capable of knocking a man off his feet. Giant spiders tend to appear in old ruins and other places where the veil has become thin because of magical disturbances or a great number of deaths. In such places, spirits and demons pass into the world of the living and attempt to take control over living beings, spiders among them. Not all scholars accept this explanation for the presence of these beasts, however. Some claim that the thinning veil allows magic to leak from the Fade, tainting such creatures as these spiders to transform into larger and more potent creatures than they ever would become naturally. While such spiders are known to possess powerful poisons and the ability to fling their webs at opponents in combat, studies of them have been few and the full range of their abilities are unknown.
I never liked this.
As you say.
Well, that wasn't too bad. You've been rewarded by the Chanter for removing all 3 bandit groups in the north. All the diseased bears are dead and no longer a threat. You should return to the chanter for a reward. Still need to find an orphan mother. An orphan's mother. It's a pretty flower. The body of the boy's mother have recovered her keepsake. Okay, back to town. Turn these quests in and then head to the highway.
So many strangers are about now.
Blessed are the peacekeepers, champions of the just. And the stars stood still, the winds did quiet, and all animals of earth and air held their breath. All was silent in prayer and thanks.
Does that mean I've completed all your quests? I guess. And I got 50 silver. Can talk to you.
Lothering doesn't have any more beds for refugees, but they keep coming.
Sorry to hear that. Well, let's head out. I think we've been here long enough. We got some new companions, we got some new supplies, we've got some money. I think we're ready. Did I collect these? Looks like it.
Away with you, foul creatures! Leave us alone!
We got Darkspawn. Ooh, Sten. Ow, me. God dang it.
Let's finish this. Run while you can.
Still another one here.
Enemy approaches.
Begin the onslaught. You forced our hand. You will learn.
Boy, Sten. We gotta upgrade your health.
We are victorious again.
Mighty timely arrival there, my friend. I'm much obliged.
You're welcome.
The name's Bodon Fedek, merchant and entrepreneur. This here is my son, Sandal. Say hello, my boy.
Hello.
Road's been mighty dangerous these days. Mind if I ask what brings you out here? Perhaps we're going the same way.
It's a bit complicated, but you're welcome to come along.
Complicated? Somehow I imagine that only says the half of it. Thank you for the offer, but there may be more excitement on your path than is good for my boy and me. Allow me to bid you farewell and good fortune.
Goodbye.
Now then, let's get this mess cleaned up, shall we?
Bye. Small carving of a robed woman. Health. Crafting stuff.
We'll be off as soon as this mess is cleaned up. Thank you, Carney, for all your assistance.
Hello.
Hi, Yuri Lowenthal. Ooh, a blood mage. I won't go back. Let them hunt and dread finding me. But you, Melis, should not live this life. It would please me if you found a life in the Circle Tower. I left a few things there, mostly stolen from the enchanters. Sell them to fund a new path. The cache is in the study area, middle alcove. Goodbye. Belgrus. And also, we leveled up. Penalty to cunning. Ooh, I could specialize if I wanted. Assassin, bard, ranger, or duelist. Finds any notion of fairness a quaint ideal that has no place in combat. Poisons are their weapon of choice, and our crippling strikes that inflict persistent wounds on their foes. As killers, assassins are a marvel of stealth and efficiency. Bards follow an Orlesian tradition, acting as assassins, spies, saboteurs, and following other secretive pursuits in the constant, and sometimes petty, struggles between nobles. Having taken the minstrel's art to new levels, bards are skilled performers and master manipulators. Bards can inspire their allies or dishearten their foes through song and tale. Rangers have an affinity for open country and wilderness, but as independent scouts and militia, they are opportunists, not stewards of nature. They exploit every advantage of their environment and can lure wild beasts to attack their foes. Duelists are deadly combatants who prefer to fight in light armors and strike with light but precise attacks. Experienced duelists have preternatural reflexes that allow them to evade their opponent's clumsy blows, as well as strike with remarkable precision. Duelist would probably make more sense, but... When in this mode, the character strikes with both weapons simultaneously. Attacks cause more damage, but the character cannot inflict regular critical hits or back. Let's go Deadly Strike. Okay, guess I gotta wait to level up that again, then. Dang it! Didn't realize I couldn't go back. Oh well. Yep, can't choose it now. Oh well. Guess we're moving on. Improve coercion. It's improved.
Bad dreams, huh?
Seems so real.
Well, it is real. Sort of. You see, part of being a Grey Warden is being able to hear the Darkspawn. That's what your dream was, hearing them. The Archdemon, it talks to the Horde, and we feel it just as they do. That's why we know this is really a blight.
The Archdemon? Is that the dragon?
I don't know if it's really a dragon, but it sure looks like one. But yes, that's the Archdemon. It takes a bit, but eventually you can block the dreams out. Some of the older Grey Wardens say they can understand the Archdemon a bit, but I sure can't. Anyhow, when I heard you thrashing around, I thought I should tell you. It was scary at first for me, too.
Any other surprises I should know about?
Other than dying young and the whole defeat the Blight alone thing, no. I'm all tapped out for surprises. Anyhow, you're up now, right? Let's pull up camp and get a move on.
But it's the middle of the night. Bodan and Sandal, the two dwarves from outside of Lothering, seem to have pulled their wagon to the outskirts of the camp. You should talk to them both to see what services they can offer.
Ah, it's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Fedek, at your service, once again. I saw your camp and remember the kind offer that you made the last time we met. And is there anywhere safer for a poor merchant and his son to sleep? I think not. I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes?
What are you selling exactly?
Anything, everything, but all of the finest quality. No cheap trinkets here. And my boy Sandal happens to be a bit of a hand with enchantments. Oh, yes. Sadly, it also makes us a target for bandits and the like. If there were spare hands to hire as guards, I would have done so long ago.
Let me see your wares.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
You should get more health poultices, I think. Darn. Ah, we don't have enough for another backpack. Here, take some malachite. Take these wolf pelts too.
Are you sure I can't interest you in this hat? A pair of earrings, perhaps? A cheese knife?
Have you heard any rumors?
I hear that Tyr Loghain, the regent, is calling for new levies of troops. He wants to rebuild the army we lost at Astagar. Thing is, there's not a lot of spare men to be found. Out of Dragon's Peak, there's press gangs roaming around, grabbing any free man they can lay their hands on. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is.
So what's your story exactly?
Well, if you're really interested, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you. I am originally from Orzammar, the famed dwarven city that lies beneath the stately Frostback Mountains. I was a merchant there, too. Merchant caste. These things are in the blood, you know. You can't just leave them behind. I ran a fairly successful business. Rare artifacts, you know. Old things, grand things. The nobles loved them. Reminded them of the lost glory days, I suppose.
Why did you leave?
One day, a noble woman came to my store. She looked around for a bit and then started shrieking in dismay. Apparently, she believed that a pair of braces I had for sale once belonged to her brother. He'd been lost in a cave-in, you see, while on an expedition to clear out the Darkspawn from one of the tunnels running close to the city. They were made specially for him. They're unique, she shrieked. He stole them from my poor brother's corpse. She had me arrested on the spot, of course. Nobles, they're touchy like that.
What happened then?
Well, I didn't steal them. You see, I'd been paying these castless thugs to venture out into the deep roads for me. The lost tides. They're full of things that people left behind. Sometimes you can find a treasure. Something worth a little gold.
I see.
The noblewoman, she wasn't too happy with the theft of her brother's braces. I don't know what they planned for me, and I didn't want to find out. Bribed the guard that was watching me and took off for the surface first opportunity I got. Never looked back.
And now here you are.
Yes, here I am. Now, is there anything the boy or I can get you?
But where do these goods come from? Not the deep roads.
Look, we don't rob people, all right? We don't take things from people that need them. The things in the Lost Tides, what good did they do lying there? I brought them back to Orzammar, where people could look at them and remember. It's not all that different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the Darkspawn coming.
What do you mean?
People flee from the Blight with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. They leave them behind because they're frightened and desperate. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places before the Horde descends, and we save these things. I take them away so the Darkspawn don't get them. Is that so bad? They destroy everything they touch.
I suppose it's better than having the Darkspawn take it all.
That's what I tell myself, too. Ah, these are dark times indeed. Dark times, my friend.
And like he says, at least he's selling them to people that could actually use them. You didn't mention your son in your tale.
Ah, yes. I'm married to a fine woman back in Denerim, it's true. She'd give me a son if she could, but that's not likely to ever be. Sandal here. I found him in the deep roads years ago. Abandoned, I think, and he was never quite right in the head. I took him in, and I brought him with me when I came here to the surface. He may not be my blood, true, but I think of him as one.
We left Orzammar.
That's right, boy. Maybe one day we'll see it again.
That was generous of you.
It's not as if I don't benefit, mind you. Turns out the boy's a natural working with enchantments. He might have even been lyrium-addled. I never thought of that before, to be honest. Happens sometimes. He can work an enchantment into just about anything, however, given some time. Could probably open his own shop, if he knew how.
Enchantment.
Well, he does seem to enjoy it, at least.
That sounds nice.
Of course. Good fortune to you and yours.
Goodbye.
Let's talk to you, Sandal.
Hello.
The boy's
Hello.
a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
What enchantments does he do?
He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment.
And there you have it.
I want some enchanting done.
Enchantment.
Enchantment. Ooh. Alistair, I'm gonna give you Oathkeeper. Chance to reduce movement speed, +1 fire, +2 electric. Let's give you electric.
Enchantment?
Never mind. Enchantment! Okay, Alistair, why don't we equip you with your new sword? There. Oh. Now then, let's give out some gifts. Nope. Small carving of a robed woman.
Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much.
This unique necklace is made of delicate gold strands twisted together in a thick rope.
A fine gift. You have my thanks.
Now let's go talk.
Yes.
I wanted to discuss something you mentioned.
Speak, then.
That's enough.
Then I suggest we move on.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Why did you come to Ferelden?
To answer a question.
What was the question?
The Arishok asked what is the Blight. By his curiosity, I am now here.
Don't you have to report back then?
Yes.
When are you going to do that?
Never. I cannot go home.
Why not?
It doesn't matter now. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting. Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. Sitting, as you observed. Your grasp of the obvious is remarkable.
You don't like me much, do you?
Warden, if I truly disliked you, I would leave. That I am still here, you may interpret however you choose.
Are you going to answer my question?
I did. Parshera, was there anything else? I am hardly surprised.
Never mind.
Well, as you wish.
You're weird. What's up, Carver?
Oh, why, you little...
What? What?
Our furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
Well, maybe it's because you have an electrical sword blaze on the back of you. It was just a warning. He could have taken a hand off.
Don't you think I don't know it? Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once heard a really old legend about how the Hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
Oh. I'd never feed you another human being.
It's not cannibalism if he's eating it, you know.
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack.
What did he do now?
A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
Yep. I think he thinks you need more meat on your bones.
I think I have enough meat where it counts, and I certainly don't need it in my pack. The dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
You heard the lady.
I don't want it, you worthless fur bag.
Hey! I think you hurt his feelings.
Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
It's okay, Carver. I know you meant well.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
What a nice dog, Carver. Sten thinks you're a great warrior. Trying to find a way through the earth, are we? It's gonna take some time, you know. Good luck with that. Oh, you're good doggy. Oh, you're good vicious warhound. You are. Oh, yes, you are. Good Carver.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
What's it like having an electric sword on your back? Why have you remained a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
Oh? I don't think I've ever seen you wearing it.
I keep it hidden under my pillow. Sometimes I'll take it out just so I can hug it fondly and remember the good old days. Brings a tear to the eyes, you know.
And what's the real reason?
You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
You don't have to tell me then. I was just curious.
Then let's just get back to what we were doing. No offense, but I'd really rather not discuss it.
Oopsie.
What do you need? Ask away.
Oh. Tell me about the Wardens.
Such as they are.
No, never mind.
3 wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need? Ask away.
Darn, I think I missed my chance. Morgan, you're way out here.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must. What do you wish of me?
I'd like to discuss something personal.
We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. I am here because Flemeth commanded me to aid you. Why? Do you wish me to leave? I can do so if you prefer.
Do you want to leave?
If I wanted to leave, then I would go. I remain, so do not ask such pointless questions.
Dang it! Liliana,
Something you need?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
I'm to Ferelden.
My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it.
What happened to your mother?
Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecily let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecily than my mother.
Do you remember nothing of your mother?
Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dried flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andrastis Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on. Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind?
Do you miss anything about Orlais?
I miss Val Royeaux. Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val Royeaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val Royeaux, streaming from the many windows, quiet refrains and triumphant choruses, and always, floating above that all, the chant, coming from the Grand Cathedral. It was magnificent.
Sounds wonderful.
Oh, it would take me a day or two to talk about the many splendors of Orlais, her golden fields, her lush meadows. Of course, there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais.
What sort of things?
Dresses, fine dresses and furs. And shoes, of course. One can't mingle with nobility with bad shoes, you see. Orlais is very fashionable. Almost ridiculously so. But the shoes... Living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes.
Oh, I love shoes! Were they ridiculous shoes?
Sometimes. About 10 years ago, all the ladies went mad for shoes with soles as large and heavy as bricks. But it isn't always that silly. When I left Orlais, the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring.
Oh, that sounds so lovely.
I had my eye on a pair my shoemaker was working on. It was covered in pale blue silk, with amber beads on the toe. The shoes made in Orlais were exquisite. Not at all like these clunky, fur-lined leather boots you have in Ferelden. Ugh, just look at them.
You don't need fancy shoes to make you beautiful.
Thank you. It's kind of you to say so, even wearing these mud-covered horrors. They're sturdy shoes, but sometimes a girl just wants to have pretty feet. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day, but we have things to do, don't we?
Something tells me we're gonna go shoe shopping!
Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind?
You are a traveling minstrel. Do you have tales to share?
Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Tell me borrowed Darkspawn.
Chantry lore says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris.
Know any stories from Orlais?
Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais.
That sounds interesting.
A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot. Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the Grand Tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the Grand Tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered.
Did she win?
Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the Grand Melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat.
That's terrible.
The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier.
Do you know any Ferelden legends?
I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth?
Yes, I have heard of Flemeth.
Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you.
Tell me the whole story.
Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love.
What happened then?
Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds.
There was another story I wanted to hear.
Which one?
Do you know anything about the Dalish?
I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south, and settled there in the land of their own.
It didn't last.
The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. There were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish.
What do you know about Andraste?
Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved, and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker.
Tell me about short... How did Andraste die?
Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Mafarath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Mafarath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hysarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter.
But Tevinter has a chantry, doesn't it?
The Tevinter chantry claims that in Andraste's last moments, Hysarian's heart softened, and he heard the voice of the Maker telling him to end her suffering. He plunged his sword into her heart, and as her blood washed over his hands, he became one of the faithful. Dissenters said that the Archon only converted because he could not stem the tide of Andraste's cult, and was forced to do so to stay in power. We will never know for sure.
Let's just move on. While Borden is a well-stocked merchant, his boy Sandal offers something more valuable: enchantment. He can engrave runes onto your weapons, make them more damaging, imbue them with elemental powers, or other mysterious effects. There's more to Liliana than has been apparent at Lothering, however. She spent much of her life as a bard in Orlais, a minstrel, assassin, and spy, employed by the nobles of Val Royeaux in their elaborate games of intrigue. Liliana takes care to honor the Lothering cloister that took her in, and keeps symbols of Andraste's blessings close to her heart.
Yes? Something you need?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
I heard that in the Orlais, minstrels are often spies.
Where did you hear this?
Someone told me this a long time ago.
And you believe everything you hear? Not all minstrels are spies. Most are just singers and storytellers. But some of them are what we call bards.
What's the difference?
Many use the two words minstrel and bard interchangeably, but to do so in Orlais would cause misunderstanding. Bards are minstrels and more. Spies, as you say. Some say there is a bard order, but I don't think this is true. Many bards work alone or in small groups, doing the bidding of a patron who pays for their services. If there is an organization behind it all, no one knows who they are.
What sort of patron?
Nobles, mostly. In Orlais, there is much rivalry amongst the highborn. They fight over land, influence, and the favor of the Empress. But they cannot do this openly because it is impolite, and in public, they wear smiling faces and pretend to be civil. In secret, they plot and scheme to destroy each other. It is a game completely meaningless to anyone but its players.
You were a bard, weren't you?
I have revealed too much, it seems, but it doesn't matter what I used to be. It is the past.
So why were you living cloistered sister in rural Ferelden?
I found myself in Ferelden and sheltered from bad weather in the Chantry. And when the storm passed, I just did not want to leave. I like to see the Maker brought me here. Yes? Something you need?
Can you teach me to be a bard?
There's an idea. I've watched you, and I do think you'd find some of my skills quite easy to pick up. Let's just go over there, away from the others, for safety, yes? I expect there shall be daggers flying about willy-nilly for a time. Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind?
Never mind. Well, I think that's about it for here. So let's gather a party and venture forth. Who should we bring with? I think Alistair, Morgan, because you're our only mage.
Indeed.
That should do. Now, where do we want to go? Go to Denerim, the Pursuing Forest, Lake Calenhad, Red Cliff, Soldier's Pass, the Frostback Mountains. See what's in Soldier's Pass. Oh boy.
The darkspawn have sensed us.
Trap right ahead.
Oh.
It's a trap. There, coming trap.
I am your destiny. Is that all you got?
Why can't I?
You will learn to fear me. Yes.
Lots of traps, holy smokes. Alistair's dead, I'm sorry.
More the fool's day! It's begun.
Liana, disarm all these, please. What's up with you, Alistair? Open wound. Penalty to nature resistance. Okay, continuing on. Hello, Mr. Felix person. And collect this elf root first.
You'll have to forgive me if I seem a bit nervous. Not many people traveling in this part of Ferelden. Of course, that's part of my problem, isn't it? Mule got spooked by a wisp and ran off into the woods. Now what do I do?
Are you asking me to find your mule?
Oh, no, I sent the elf to do that. I wouldn't dream of asking a stranger to do it. Allow me to introduce myself. Felix de Grosbois, merchant and entrepreneur at your service.
I'm Aedan. Pleased to meet you.
I don't normally take this route, but with the war, I was hoping for a bit of luck and good weather in the mountains. Sadly, I've had neither. Ugh, this trip has been one miserable disaster after another. I don't suppose you consider helping a fellow out?
What do you need?
Of all the other things that went wrong, the worst is this artifact I brought in Jada. It's a control rod, I'm told, for a golem. No point in me keeping it, however, as I'll never get to use it. But, maybe you could?
How much do you want for it?
Nothing. I just don't want to have to lug around something that might be taken for a gemstone by some bandit. To be honest, I don't even know if it'll be useful to you. I paid too much to simply throw it away.
What's the catch?
The catch? Yeah, I suppose it is a catch, isn't it? The catch is that the golem didn't come with the rod. It's supposed to be down in a village down south, waiting to be activated. Even if I could get down there, which I can't, I understand the place has been overrun by darkspawn. That's not such an issue for adventurous types like yourself, surely? Or I'm hoping that's so, at least.
How do I know this will even work?
The fellow I brought it from is a long-standing contact. He didn't want to come to Ferelden, however, with all our... troubles. He said he got it from the man who owned this golem. But to be honest, I have no idea if it will work. Hence the low price? What do you say?
So you're basically just giving me a control rod that may or may not work for a golem in a village nearby. Yeah, I think I could use it.
Just as well. As I mentioned before, you'll find the golem down south, in a town called Honleith. I'll mark it here on your map. Just hold up the rod and say Dulaf Gar. That will wake the golem up, so I'm told. I hope it works.
And if it doesn't?
Maybe you could look up the fellow who owned the golem before. If he's still about, that is. Best of luck to you then. Now, I guess it's up to me to find that mule myself.
Good luck. You have acquired a control rod from a merchant. According to his tale, the rod will activate a golem in the remote village of Honleith, in the southwest of Ferelden. You should journey there to see if his story rings true. Let's go. To Honleith. Oh boy. Oh.
As you say.
This isn't too bad.
You have coin, stranger? With Orzammar closed off, old Tegrin can get you a discount. Fine weapon and arms, dwarven made.
What's going on in Orzammar?
There's two things I'm here for. Travel or trade. Understand?
Let's see the discount then. What do you got? Ornate silver amulet in the shape of a sword. Blue satin shoes. Liana. I got some shoes for you.
Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much.
I'm going to quickly save. And just see if Liliana takes this Sword of Mercy.
Oh, how dear of you.
Yes, she does.
Thank you so much.
Sometimes a gift can be interpreted like for two different people, so of course, one person really likes it, the other person thinks it's okay. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Just gotta load up the map to Honleith, and then we'll call it a day. First, I'm gonna collect this elf fruit.
There, more of the fiends ahead.
Okay, never mind, we're fighting first.
Away with you! Foolish!
Well, that's charming.
Darkspawn. They just crop up everywhere, don't they?
So they come here to us. Here we go.
Too easy.
You guys got this.
I tried to be merciful.
Oh man, they're just coming out of the woodwork. That's it, Alistair. Oh, I'm stunned. Oh, come on, me. Hold off a little longer.
No quarter shall be given.
There we go.
Let's grab some glory.
Good work. Let's collect these spoils. Anything else back here? Nope. Okay. Obviously, this place is overrun with darkspawn. So, I'm going to save the game here. And we'll call it a day. Next time, we'll explore Honleith and see if we can get this golem started. This golem activated. So, till then, if you like this video, let me know in the comments. If you really liked it, press that cute little like button. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Luke Dog, and I'll see you next time.